everyone and welcome to The Learning Ladder. My name is Isabella and today we are doing a review on Story of the World Part 1, Revised Edition Volume 1. So we have used Story of the World for the first time this year. As I said, it is Ancient Times, Volume 1. So we purchased the storybook, we also purchased the activity book and also the audiobook. Now, having never used this curriculum before, I'd seen a lot of reviews. Some people really loved it, some people were, on the fence about it, but I can honestly say we have really thoroughly enjoyed it, so I would definitely recommend it. So I'll say that at the beginning, and then I'll talk a bit more about how I used it. So we would definitely recommend it. We have really enjoyed using it. So the way it works is you read a chapter of the story each lesson that you do, and then in the activity book there are corresponding books to read, activities to do, questions, narrations, exercises that you can do, map work, colouring sheets. So this is essential as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't just use the Story of the World. I mean, you could do, but I think you get so much more by purchasing them both. Now with the activity book, I'm just going to go to the first chapter. So there are 42 chapters in total. And we go to the first chapter. This is funny. It gives you information about how to pronounce all the words, the unusual names. Okay, so chapter 1, the earliest people. So as you can see at the top, it'll tell you the corresponding pages in the encyclopedias that you could choose to go along with the story to read. It then also has review questions underneath. It also has narration exercises as well, and then it'll go on to telling you additional books that you could purchase or borrow from your library if your library has them. Mine is very, very sad little library. It's a sad story about my little library, but we rarely are able to find any books there at all, so I tend to have to either buy them or get them used. I'll come on to that in a second. Corresponding literature suggestions, so additional history reading, corresponding literature suggestions. Then we have your map work. All the maps are at the back of the book. Those are the colouring pages. There's a map. All the maps are at the back, and then it'll give you projects. So for this particular one, there was a cave painting, and there was an option to make a prehistoric hunter's game bag, and then also an activity to build your own hut. And throughout you'll find that each chapter has several different activities. Some are crafts, some are actually things that you would, like this one, so you go outside and build your own hut. There's so many different choices, so you could potentially look at this and go, there's too many different choices, I can't deal with it. So what I did was, during my planning stage, I used my special book, my project book, and I went through every single chapter, and then I made a note. I prefer writing than typing for some reason, I don't know why, but I do. So for example, week 1, this was the introduction chapter. How do we know what happened? So there was 2 activities that I wanted to do. So I'd go through the list of what the choices were, and then I would pick ones that I thought my daughter would enjoy, that I thought we would have the resources for, and that I thought would fit into our week, depending on what we were doing that week. So for example, I decided to do, this was my life timeline, and then I listed supplies, so I knew exactly what we need. So for this one, it was photos from birth to now, so I needed to make sure I had the photos available and printed off if they weren't already. Milestones information, so when she obviously started walking, crawling, all those kind of things. The second activity I decided to do was the Archaeological Dig. So again, I put the items that I needed to use already down there on the list, and that's basically what I did through every single chapter. It did take a little bit of time to go through it, but I didn't mind doing it at all because I thought that would make sure that we got the best use out of the activity guide, and to make sure that we did as many projects as I thought my daughter would enjoy, to bring history to life. History is one of my favourite subjects. I wanted to really make sure that I'm presenting it to my daughter in a way that is age appropriate, and she's still learning, but she's also really enjoying it too. So We did some amazing, so many amazing projects. We still haven't finished Story of the World, so there are still a few left to go because we haven't finished school yet. But I'm just really excited to finish the rest of the projects, and I've already gone through next year's Middle Ages book and done exactly the same thing. So each week wrote down what activities we wanted to do, what supplies I needed. So I've got my list there. So what I can do is each 6 weeks period, because that's how I tend to do it, I will write down anything that I don't already have, and then obviously budget to go and purchase the supplies. Or what I did with Story of the World mostly, because a lot of the things you already have, I just got a big taupe plastic box and put everything in at the beginning of the year, and then if there was anything that was particularly pricey, which there wasn't, to be honest, I would space it out throughout. So some of the things that we made. This is an Nancy. She says hello. You see a cool eye. And another project that I thought I'd show you is my daughter's Ming bowl. She's got some of her treasures in there. So there's so many different things. I highly recommend it. We have made a book. We have done a hieroglyphic scroll. We did an archaeological dig. So many fun, amazing projects that would cover a wide range of ages as well, which if you have multiple children, I think the Story of the World works great for that too. So some of the books that we used, I've just got a pile here. So this was our spine, I guess you could say. Well, apart from the Story of the World, which is the spine. But as you noticed at the top, there were encyclopedias that you were supposed to refer to. And we purchased the Osborn Encyclopedia of World History with internet links. It's a fabulous book. Some of the other ones we purchased were Osborn, Who Were the Romans? The Magic Treehouse Mummies in the Morning. Egyptian Things to Make and Do. This is a craft and sticker book. Miss Frizzles, Adventures in Ancient Egypt. This is a funny story. I actually purchased this used off Amazon, and it's actually signed, which I had no idea, by, is it the co-author, I think? Or the illustrator, it doesn't say. I think it's the co-author. So that was really cool, because it was just a regular price. I had no idea that that's what I was purchasing, a used copy, but I knew I was purchasing a used copy, but I didn't know it'd be signed, so that was kind of cool. We had Tut's Mummy. You Wouldn't Want to Be a Slave in Ancient Greece. Osborn, Seaside Houses Long Ago. I really like this one. So it's Lift the Flap. So here's the Egyptian villa, and each flap has information in. There we go. Then the Osborn Timeline of World History. If you're noticing there are quite a few Osborn books, that's because I get them discounted from the book people when they have them. So definitely check out the book people. They do international ship as well. So this is an example of what it's like in this particular book. This is something that she's going to grow into more than for right now, but I bought it I think 2 years ago with school in mind, that we would grow into it, because I think this is a really great resource. There you go. It was £4. So great bargain. Osborn First Encyclopedia of History. The Ever More Ancient Civilizations History Pocket. So we haven't actually done these yet, but I'm planning to do 1 or 2 before we finish school for the year. You Wouldn't Want to Be an Aztec Sacrifice. Balto. The Trojan Horse. Want a Mouse. Little Grunt and the Big Egg. This was a hit. My daughter really liked that one. If You Lived 100 Years Ago. This is a Scholastic. Wonder Eyes, When I Was Young, a book about family history. So we read this when we were doing our initial project. And I love these Wonder Wise books because at the back it gives you little projects that you can do in addition. So for example, this one is you can do family history, and then a toy timeline as well. So when different toys were introduced, which I think is really cool. Magic School Bus Show and Tell, a book about archaeology. Archaeologists Dig for Clues. I really like these Let's Read and Find Out books. It's disgusting and we ate it. My daughter thought that was hilarious. And The First Dog, another really huge hit. So that's some of the books that we read for the history. As I said, highly recommend it. We are definitely continuing doing the Middle Ages. I hope that was helpful for you, and take care. I'll see you in our next video. Bye for now.